Ventura, aka Cassie, versus Sean Combs, aka Diddy, and ciao, let me give you the recap. Let me start off by saying the front page of this lawsuit has a trigger warning on it. So listen, let me say to you, this video could be triggering. You've been warned. Okay, so the beginning of the lawsuit just gives some background. It talks about how the two met in late 2005, early 2006. Cassie was 19 and Diddy was 37. Shortly after, Cassie was signed to Bad Boy. And at the time, Cassie was actually in a relationship with someone else and Diddy was in a relationship with Kim Porter. But then on Cassie's 21st birthday, Diddy allegedly pulled her into the bathroom and forcibly kissed her. Cassie cried, and that was their very first physical encounter. Over time, Diddy continued to pursue her according to this lawsuit. And then in September of 2007, Diddy allegedly picked Cassie up from her apartment and gave her a pill. The suit says that Cassie didn't know what the pill was, but she took it at his request. She later learned that that pill was ecstasy, allegedly. Then there's a story told from 2007 when Diddy allegedly paid a promoter to create a fake flyer for a party Cassie was hosting, but not really because it was fake. And it was done to give her a reason to go to Miami and get away from her boyfriend. During that trip, it's alleged that they did a ton of drugs, and that is when they had their very first encounter. By 2008, Diddy had allegedly introduced Cassie to opiates and would often have pills and other drugs out in the open like candy. Quote, upon information and belief, Mr. Combs has been addicted to prescription painkillers and took ecstasy frequently. The suit also alleges that Cassie's medical records were being sent directly to Diddy's email address. For instance, the suit says when Cassie was experiencing some memory loss, potentially due to excessive drug use and or head injuries caused by Diddy's alleged beatings, her MRI results were provided directly to Diddy. Somebody call HIPAA. By this point in the relationship, according to the doc, the dynamic between the two had been established and continued to be reinforced. There's the 20-year age gap between the two, Diddy's high-profile position as a music mogul in the industry, and then he's the CEO of the label that Cassie is signed to. He's also, according to this document, aggressive and demanding, requiring blind loyalty from anybody he works with, and he constantly flaunted large amounts of cash, which was quite intimidating for Cassie. He also paid for her apartments, her cars, her clothes, and vacations. And all of this combined contributed to Cassie's feeling like her entire life was under the complete control of Diddy. And then the lawsuit goes into violence and abuse. The suit tells multiple stories of violence in the relationship. From a story of Suge Knight being spotted at a LA restaurant and Diddy allegedly getting dressed, retrieving multiple weapons and running out of his house to go to that restaurant, to Diddy allegedly demanding that Cassie hold his weapons in her purse, knowing that she was scared, all the way to Diddy allegedly violently beating Cassie and then exercising his money, power, and influence to hide the bruises and at times hide her until she was healed. There are a few stories told in this lawsuit that allege Cassie was kicked or stomped, and even with staff or security witnessing the violence, no one would say anything or challenge Diddy. The lawsuit then goes into alleged trafficking. It claims that a few years into their relationship, there was an arrangement referred to as freak off or FO, in which male sex workers were hired for Cassie to engage in acts with, and Diddy would watch. These FOs would take place at hotels all around the country, which is where the trafficking part comes in, and heavy amounts of drugs and other things were always supplied. Diddy would allegedly give instructions during these FOs and record them. And even when Cassie would delete the footage, Diddy would tell her he could always recover the footage regardless if she deleted them. At one point, the lawsuit says that Diddy allegedly made Cassie watch one of the FOs that she thought she deleted while they were on a flight. And even during the FOs, according to the suit, Cassie would still be physically beat in front of the guests and security. A hotel allegedly caught one of the violent incidents on camera, but according to the suit, Diddy paid $50,000 for the damages done to the hotel and for the footage. There's a story in these docs that allege that on Cassie's 29th birthday, Diddy held one of Cassie's friends over the balcony of a hotel like a child. In 2011, Cassie developed a relationship with Kid Cudi while things between her and Diddy were not so great. And the suit claims that Diddy allegedly still called Cassie over for an FO. And while she was over, he went through her phone and found some exchanges between her and Kid Cudi. He allegedly placed a manual corkscrew between his fingers and then lunged at her. Cassie leaves, she stays with Kid Cudi, she comes back, she's met with more violence, she eventually stays with her mom, they start working things out. And then in February of 2012, during Paris Fashion Week, Diddy allegedly told Cassie he was going to blow up Kid Cudi's car, and he wanted Kid Cudi and his friends home when it happened, according to this doc and Kid Cudi. Around that time, Kid Cudi's car exploded in his driveway. In September of 2018, Diddy and Cassie allegedly met up for what Cassie thought was going to be a breakup dinner of sorts. Following the dinner, the two went back to Cassie's apartment, which was paid for by Diddy. And while there, Cassie claims that Diddy her while she told him to stop and tried to push him away. The suit says that the birth of Cassie's children has given her a new lease on life and given her purpose in her life, but that she has struggled with addiction to drugs and alcohol that were all established and fueled by Diddy. She has had, quote, difficulty sleeping, eating, and her relationship with her family has suffered. She's even had thoughts of unaliving herself. She says that she is rebuilding her life and her career, and she is now ready to, quote, confront her abuser and hold him and those who enabled his abuse accountable for their actions. So she's suing for sex trafficking, human trafficking, sexual battery, sexual assault, sexual harassment, hostile work environment, and more. Diddy, through his attorneys, deny all of the allegations and says he is being extorted. Quote, for the past 6 months, Mr. Combs has been subjected to Ms. Ventura's persistent demand of $30 million under the threat of writing a damaging book about the relationship, which was unequivocally rejected as blatant blackmail. Despite withdrawing her initial threat, Ms. Ventura has now resorted to filing a lawsuit riddled with
Cassie, and she may want to put a cloak of protection around her. And what if I told you the reason she wants to put that cloak of protection around her is because at this point, 2 of her friends, good friends, both had huge arguments with Diddy, and neither of them are here. Both passed away in their houses. Both deaths were unexplained. And to top it off, both of them were bridesmaids at her wedding. And what if I told you the same man who both of her 2 best friends, her bridesmaids, had an argument with before they passed away, was the same man that had threatened to harm her while she was pregnant? And what if I told you the only thing that saved her from this man was the fact that at one time she was married to Russell Simmons, the most powerful man, this is before Puffy met, in hip hop. And when she left, and Russell Simmons said, leave my wife alone, even though, yes, I know he has his own themes, because if you don't know anything about Russell Simmons, go and Google it, or let me know if you want me to make a video. It's going to be a Surviving Russell Part 86 by the time we're done with it. But let me get back on point. And what if I told you that after she left Russell, she met another rich man who, oddly enough, is under federal... He's testifying right now because he robbed half the country of Malaysia. Okay, but let's get back. Yes, Kimora Lee can pick him, but let's get back into Kimora's safety. People are saying that Kimora is in danger. If you guys don't know, her one best friend that was her bridesmaid that actually passed away after they got in an argument with Diddy is Kim Porter. Kim Porter was rumored to be writing a tell-all book. Now, this has been confirmed through various sources that knew Kim Porter, that she was writing a book. This was supposed to be a tell-all. Kim Porter magically passed away. Now, the thing about it is, okay, we're going to get into this. She passed away a couple of weeks after Halloween. She passed away a couple of weeks after Halloween. She was looking good, feeling good. Nobody knew anything about it. She went to a doctor, right? She went to a doctor that gave her an IV. She passed away just days later from pneumonia. Now, Puffy says he got a call from Kim saying, just look after my kids, you know, because she wasn't feeling well, so the kids went over to his house. And she was like, yo, Puff, look after my kids. Or Diddy, look after my kids. And he's like, yeah, I'm going to do that. But what happened after that leaves even more questions. Because even though she passed away, the kids were taken to school. She was supposed to be sleeping. Kimora Lee went over to her house and found her. Kimora Lee herself. You guys, hold on. I'm about to do a plot twist for you, Rudy. Just hold on. Kimora Lee found her and saw that she was not awake and literally was pictured sobbing outside the house. Her heart was broken. This was a girl that she looked at as her sister. Even when she gave the Instagram post commemorating her death, she was like, we will never stop crying for you. I love you forever. You were taken way too soon, my sister. The love was deep, so deep. She was one of the bridesmaids at Kimora Lee's wedding to Russell Simmons. They came up in the game. They endured countless indignities, as well as endured countless riches. They were both admired, but were both living with alleged monsters. And at the whim of it, let's not forget Kimora Lee Simmons started dating Russell Simmons when she was 14 or 15. Yeah, that man had some problems. But let's get back into the story. Everybody thought it was so odd. Okay? For one, she had looked good. She had felt good. What could have gone wrong? Kimora Lee herself, even a little while later, there are reports that she called for her case to be reopened because she was sure that something else had happened, that it wasn't natural. We'll get back to why she wanted it. That has to do with her second best friend that passed away also after getting in an argument with Diddy. But let's get into Kim, because I feel like a lot of these things are actually looked over, because we really need to get into Kimora's mind. And if she is alarmed like people say she is, why? Okay? She died from lobar pneumonia, according to a coroner's report obtained by Us Weekly. The report also noted that the manner of her death was natural. Lobar pneumonia is an infection of the lung caused by bacteria. Immune cells evade the air spaces where the oxygen is taken in. And this is accompanied by a necrosis, that is the death of cells. Pneumonia decreases the lung's ability to take in oxygen, and over time, it causes sudden death. Now, according to the report, Kim went to a doctor days before she passed away with cold flu-like symptoms. Okay? A nurse also visited her home and gave her a saline solution with vitamins. She was found dead in her home. We all know the tragedy that fell over her. Puffy gave an emotional eulogy. He literally launched a second resurgence of his career. Puffy made the jump from New York City party promoter / producer, blah, 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 into mainstream America with the death of Biggie. With the death of Kim, his career was staggering. People knew who he was. He was making money as a businessman, but we kind of weren't looking for him as a performer or entertainer. He then made a whole resurgence, literally playing the dad on dad duty. You know, I lost the love of my life. Why didn't I appreciate you when I was there? Black love forever. Isn't that what he posted in his Instagram? However, right? Kim was said to go to a private doctor. If you don't know what private doctors are, they make house calls, they do this, they do that. They're doctors that just take a select number of clients. No, you cannot book them on ZocDoc. But here's the thing. A lot of people are like, what's going on when she has pneumonia? Because if you
Moments ago, 50 Cent responded to Diddy reaching a settlement with Cassie in her lawsuits. That's right, y'all. For those who may not know, moments ago it was announced that Cassie has settled her lawsuit against Diddy after accusing Diddy of sexual assault, rape, and so much more. Now, again, I have to say rape because of YouTube guidelines. However, if you want to see the details in this lawsuit, make sure to hit the link in the description. But again, it has been announced that Cassie and Diddy have reached a settlement. All right, now, of course, initially when the reports came out, we already know 50 wasted no time reacting to these headlines. However, just moments ago, 50 Cent reacted to Diddy reaching a settlement with Cassie in her lawsuit. And of course, he took to IG to respond to this announcement of Diddy and Cassie reaching a settlement with a post that reads, LOL, he paid that money real quick. He should have done that before the sharks saw that blood in the water. And here they come. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Every woman he put his hands on. All right. Now, again, that was 50 wasting no time reacting to the headlines of Diddy and Cassie reaching a settlement. All right. Now, again, this was one day after Cassie announced her lawsuit against Diddy, accusing him of rape, physical assault, and so much more. Like I said, the details in this lawsuit are very graphic. Even though they've come to an agreement, right, when it comes to their settlement, I will still leave the link in the description so you can check out the details within this lawsuit. Like I said, this may have been the quickest settlement ever in history. Like I said, Diddy must have learned from Cosby and others in pretty much avoiding, the scrutiny, the criticism that would come with the public trial and all of the things that would have came with him dragging out this whole situation, defending his name. And I guess for whatever reason, Diddy decided to, reach a settlement with Cassie. And here we are. But y'all let me know, what's your thoughts on Diddy reaching a settlement with Cassie? How do you feel about that? Do you think this was Diddy's best decision? Was this his wisest move, reaching a settlement with Cassie? Or should he just, took it to court, defended his name? Let me know. What are your thoughts on this settlement reached between